Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, Dandavat Pranams to all the devotees. Thank you all for joining in for our NOI culmination session today. So, we'll complete verse 10 and then verse 11 today. And from Monday onwards, we will start with we are actually in the 15th book of our Prabhupada book series. We've completed the study of 14 books. We'll be starting Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Preparing our consciousness, preparing ourselves to be Gauranga conscious. For the next, today is 8th, right? So in the next almost 8 plus 17, right? 17 days for the most auspicious Gaura Purnima Maha Mahotsav on 25th of March. So we'll study teachings of Lord Chaitanya from Monday. Today we'll try to complete NOI and then we will start with Bhagavad Gita. We are on chapter 4. So we'll start with the prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadhaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Dushe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tarale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Mande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Meshwaram Hari Om Tatsat Ajanulambita Bhujau Kanakavadato Sankirtanaika Pitaro Kamalayataksho Vishwambarau Dvijavarau Yugadharma Palau Vande Jagat Priyakarau Karunavataro Ajanulambita Bhujau Kanakavadato Sankirtanaika Pitaro Kamalayataksho Vishwambarau Dvijavarau Yugadharma Palau Vande Jagat Priyakarau Karunavataro Ajanulambita Bhujau Kanakavadato Sankirtanaika Pitaro Kamalayataksho Vishwambarau Dvijavarau Yugadharma Palau Vande Jagat Priyakarau Karunavataro. Hare Krishna. So today we will start with Nectar of Instruction. We are on verse number 10. In verse number 10 we were saying that who is most dear to Lord Sri Krishna. You all know, right? Srimati Radharani is most dear to Lord Krishna. And her lake, which is called Radha Kund, which was developed by Radha herself. Radharani herself actually dug the kunda with her own bracelet, with her own bangle. And in this way, Radha Kund was formed. And then the Manasi Ganga was invoked, and by the desire of Radha and Radharani and Krishna, all the holy rivers also went into Radha Kund, from Sham Kund and Radha Kund. So even now, when we go to Vrindavan Dham, we can see that they are interconnected, Sham Kund and Radha Kund, like that. So this Radha Kund, which is created by Srimati Radharani herself, is as dear to Lord Shri Krishna as Radharani herself. And that is why it is mentioned here that those who render devotional service in Radha Kund are the most exalted devotees of the world, right? But we discuss how Acharyas explain that more important than staying in Radha Kund is staying in Radha Kund consciousness. What is Radha Kund consciousness? The consciousness that Srimati Radharani has for Krishna. What is that consciousness? To be eternally engaged in the service of Lord Sri Krishna, and such Savipumsam Parodharmo Yatha Bhaktir Adoksaje Ahetuki Apratihata Yayatma Suprasidati. Right? What gives satisfaction to the self? Ahetuki Apratihata Seva, until the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is personified by Srimati Radha Rani. Okay, so let me share my screen. We will continue with our reading. Devotees who want to read can also raise your hands. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Okay. One should therefore be eager to understand. Yes, Sridhar Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam.
Happy International Women's Day. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
One should therefore be eager to understand the science of the soul, Atma Tattva. Unless one come to the platform of Atma Tattva, by which one understands that the soul and not the body is oneself, one remain on the platform of ignorance. Out of 1,000 and even million of ignorant people who are wasting their time simply gratifying their senses, one may come to platform of knowledge and understand higher value of life. Such person is called Jnani. The Jnani that fruitive activities will blind him to material existence and cause him to transmigrate from one kind of body to another, as indicated in Srimad Bhagavatam by the term of Saritra Bandha, bond of bodily existence. As long as one maintains many conceptions of sense enjoyment, his mind will be absorbed in karma, fruitive activity, and this will oblige him to transmigrate from one body to another. This jnani is considered superior to the karmi because he at least refrains from the blind activities of sense enjoyment. This is a verdict of Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, although a jnani may liberated from the ignorance of karmis, unless he comes to the platform of devotional service, he is still considered to be ignorant Advaita. Although one may be accepted as jnani or one in advanced knowledge, his knowledge is considered impure because he has no information of devotional service and thus neglect the direct worship of lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why not? Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Mataji.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam. So here, Prabhupada is talking about two important things. One is Atma Tattva, right? One has to be eager to understand the science of the soul, right? Atato Brahma Jignasa. That is the starting point of inquiry for a human being. Otherwise, until such point, we are equal to animals. We discussed that in detail, isn't it? Ahara Nidra Bhaya Maitunamcha. If you are on the platform of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, that means we are on the platform of Sharira Bandha. Sharira Bandha means we are bound to the material body. What gives me, what can I eat better? How can I eat better? How can I sleep better? How can I defend better? Right? How can I enjoy better? Now, that is what will entangle us into this karmic cycle of birth, death, disease, and old age. As long as we are Sharira Bandha, we will have to take another body. We have to continuously take body after body. And then Prabhupada is also talking about how a jnani is superior to a karmi, right? Even Lord Shri Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, right? Chaturvida bhajante mam jana supratin arjuna artho jignashu artharti jnani cha vartarshaba, right? The artho jignashu and artharti, they're all they're having some kind of material desires. One wants to get out of material, one wants to satisfy material desires, one wants to get wealth, one wants to get relieved of the distress, one is inquiring as to, why I'm suffering. But the jnani is a person who already knows Krishna as a supreme lord and he wants to engage in the service. That is why out of these 4 people who surrender to Krishna, the jnanis are supposed to be the best because they have the knowledge, right? They have the vidya, right? Because they are in vidya, they are not in ignorance, and thus they worship the supreme personality of Godhead. That is why even a jnani without jnani minus devotional service is equal to ajnana, right? Because devotional service is the right application of knowledge. If you have knowledge but we don't apply, right? Like we discussed the other day about a maths paper, right? I've studied all the formulas, I've done all the sums at home, but in the question paper, whatever sum is asked, I don't know which formula to apply, right? Is that any use? I will get 0 marks, isn't it? Because I can't solve the problem, right? So jnani is like that. Lot of knowledge, head is filled, but application of knowledge is a problem because he doesn't understand the devotional service. Rendering a devotional service is the natural consequence of real transcendental knowledge, right? So that's what it is. Okay, that's what Prabhupada is explaining in the next paragraphs. When a jnani takes to devotional service, he becomes superior to an ordinary jnani, right? That's where our jnana becomes vijnana, our knowledge becomes wisdom. Yeah. Okay, Sindhu Mataji, go ahead. Oh, let me share my screen. Yeah. If you have your book, you can go ahead. Yeah.
NOI, no, Mataji. Bhagavad Gita I have.
Oh, you don't have a nectar of instruction book?
No, Veda based only I read, Mataji.
Okay. We should have these 4 books. These are all, like, these books are given as Prabhupada as the basic books, like NOI, NOD, Bhagavad Gita, and Ishopanishad. These 4 books we should definitely have.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mataji. When a jnani takes to devotional service,
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When a jnani takes to devotional service, he rapidly becomes superior to an ordinary jnani. Such an advanced person is described as jnana vimukta bhakti parama. How a jnani takes to devotional service is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 7.19, wherein Krishna says, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudevah sarvam niti samatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who's actually knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Actually, a person is wise when he surrenders unto the lotus feet of Krishna. But such a Mahatma, great soul is very rare. After taking to devotional service under the regulative principles, a person may come to the platform of spontaneous love of Godhead, following the footsteps of great devotees like Narada and Shanaka and Sanatana. The Supreme Personality of Godhead then recognizes him to be superior. The devotees who have developed love of Godhead are certainly in an exalted position. Of all these devotees, the gopis are recognized as superior because they do not know anything other than satisfying Krishna. Nor do the gopis expect any return from Krishna. Indeed, sometimes Krishna puts them into extreme suffering by separating himself from them. Nonetheless, they cannot forget Krishna. When Krishna left Vrindavana for Mathura, the gopis became most dejected and spent the rest of their life simply crying in separation from Krishna. This means that in one sense, they were never actually separated from Krishna. There is no difference between thinking of Krishna and associating with him. Rather, Vipralamba Seva, thinking of Krishna and separation as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, is far better than serving Krishna directly. Thus, of all the devotees who have developed unalloyed devotional love for Krishna, the gopis are the most exalted. And out of all these exalted gopis, Srimati Radharani is the highest. No one can excel the devotional service of Srimati Radharani. Indeed, even Krishna cannot understand the attitude of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, he took her position and appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just to understand her transcendental feelings.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Here, 2 concepts are described. What is that? Sambhoga and Vipralamba. What is Sambhoga? Sambhoga means the pleasure derived when 2 people are together, right? Together they perform activities and derive bliss out of it. That's called Sambhoga, right? And what is Vipralamba? Vipralamba means service in separation, right? Always when 2 people meet, one is definitely doing a service to the other is receiving service, right? The loving reciprocation is always exhibited in the form of service. Like Prabhupada tells in a lecture, right? A person, if he says, I love you, but I will not do anything for you, that's not love, right? That is just simply lust, right? That's why motherly love for the child is considered to be the best, or we can say a faint replica of the love that is found in the spiritual world, because the mother does everything for the child irrespective, not expecting any reciprocation from the child, right? And that is also material, right? That is also material, but that's kind of a faint representation of the love that is seen in the spiritual world, isn't it? So that is the unalloyed devotional love for Krishna that gopis and Srimati Radharani had. And of course, Srimati Radharani is the highest, who excelled in devotional service, because Krishna appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he wanted to understand that how is Radharani deriving more pleasure by serving me than I myself am deriving by receiving her service. Right? Generally, when somebody is serving, right, for example, the driver is driving a car for the master gets his desire fulfilled. He wants to go somewhere. He will say, okay, you go here, you go there, etc. So the servant is not deriving any pleasure. He's just doing that particular job because he's going to get paid at the end of the month, isn't it? The master is feeling a sense of satisfaction. Yeah, then whatever I tell, this person is going to do. Right? Generally, the served or the person who is served gets more pleasure than the person who's serving. But then Krishna is wondering, how is it that the person who's serving me, Srimati Radharani, is getting more pleasure than me? And then, of course, the three important reasons are also given. What are the qualities in me that makes Srimati Radharani get attracted to me so much? And what is the glory of Srimati Radharani's devotional service? So for these three reasons, internal reasons, the Lord Krishna appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? He'll be appearing very soon on 25th of March, right? So these are the internal reasons. So what is the glory of Radharani's love? The glory of Radharani's love is she's so selfless that she wants to serve Krishna in all circumstances. Sometimes she exhibits man also, right? That's not the characteristic of a devotee. To be proud means Krishna will not be in our association, but that gives pleasure to Krishna. When Srimati Radharani exhibits this man, then that is another pastime that is actually released by Krishna. So she exhibits that pastime when Krishna leaves her and goes. And then, Radharani and the gopis search for Krishna. And then Krishna meets the gopis. Like that, Vipralamba and Sambhoga happens. And all this happens for the pleasure of the Lord. And Srimati Radharani, whatever mood she is exhibiting, it is not for her pleasure. It is for the pleasure of her beloved, who is Lord Krishna. Like that. Okay? Okay, let's move forward. Rohini Mataji, go ahead. In this way.
Pranam Mataji. In this way, Srila Rupa Goswami gradually concludes that Srimati Radharani is the most exalted devotee of Krishna and that her Kundalika, Sri Radha Kunda, is the most exalted place. This is verified in a quotation from Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Uttarakhanda 45, as quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Yatha Radha Priya Vishnu, Tasya Kundam Priyam Tatha, Sarva Gopeshu Sevaika, Vishnur Atyanta Vallabha. Just as Srimati Radharani is dear to the Supreme Lord Krishna Vishnu, so her bathing place Radha Kunda is equally dear to Krishna. Among all the gopis, she alone stands supreme as the Lord's most beloved. Therefore, everyone interested in Krishna consciousness should ultimately take shelter of Radha Kunda and execute devotional service there throughout one's life. This is the conclusion of Rupa Goswami in the 10th verse of Upadeshamrita. Hari Bol.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Right? So, Srimati Radharani's consciousness, that's what we were seeing, right? The other day I was hearing a lecture. Generally when there's a small child, right? The child is nicely dressed up, the neighbors all come, the father comes, they all cuddle the child, play with the child, right? Suddenly the child passes urine, okay, or passes stool. Then what happens? All the neighbors, if they're holding the child, they will give the child to the father. The father will also take the child and give the child to the mother. When the mother goes inside and nicely cleanses the baby, and then nicely dresses the baby, puts nice powder, kajal, everything. And when the mother brings out the baby, then again the neighbors are interested to hold the child and play. And again the father is also interested to play with the child, to hold the child, etc. Right? So we are all in the state of that baby, right? Who is filled with mala mutra. That means what? All of our desires of lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion are like mala and mutra, are like the stool and urine. That is why we cannot directly approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, because Krishna expects purity. I will reward you according to your level of surrender to me. But Srimati Radharani is not like that. Srimati Radharani is a personification of mercy. Srimati Radharani is like our mother, right? The mother never thinks, oh, the child is so dirty, right? Somebody clean him and bring. No, never. Right? Before somebody could even give the child, the mother will rush and take the child to clean the child and then bring the child back with new clothes and nice powder and nicely dressed, etc. So similarly, Srimati Radharani is all willing to clean us, to cleanse us of all of our anarthas, so that we can be offered as a medium of devotional service to Lord Sri Krishna. Srimati Radharani is always ready. If we are sincere and we are praying to Srimati Radharani, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. O Supreme Lord Krishna, O energy of the Lord Srimati Radharani, please engage me in your service. If you are helplessly crying out every day, and if that is the only desire, Srimati Radharani is all ready to cleanse us of all of our anarthas, and in this way engage in the service of Lord Sri Krishna. Right? So Srimati Radharani is very dear to Krishna. Why? Because Srimati Radharani also serves Krishna. That is always there. But Srimati Radharani is so eager to engage everybody else in the service of the Lord. And Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, anyone who makes others also Krishna conscious, who makes others also engage in devotional service, such a person is most dear to me. And Srimati Radharani is her heart full of compassion and magnanimity. Right? She actually does the seva of engaging everybody in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In fact, she tells Krishna that this devotee is better than me. Accept her, accept him in the devotional service, like that. Yeah. All right. So let's move to the last verse of Nectar of Instruction, NOI 11. कृष्णस्योचै प्रणय वसति प्रेयसीभ्योऽपि राधा कुण्डं चास्य मुनिभिरपितस्तादृगेव व्यधायि यत्प्रेष्टैरपि अलम् असुलभं किं पुनर्भक्तिभाजां तत्प्रेमेदं सकृदपि सरः स्नातुराविष्करोति. Sranam, so word translation. Sudha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. Synonyms: Krishnasya, of Lord Sri Krishna, Uchai, very highly, Pranaya Vasati, object of love, Prayashibhya, out of the many lovable gopis, Api, certainly, Radha, Srimati Radharani, Kundam, lake, Cha, also, Asya, of her, Munibhi, by great sages, Abhita, in all respects, Tadrakeva, similarly, Yadahi, is described, yet which Preshtai, by the most advanced devotees, Api, even, Alam, enough, Asulabham, difficult to obtain, Kim, what, Punha, again, Bhakti Bhajam, for persons engaged in devotional service, Tat, that, Prema, love of God, Idam, this, Sakrat, once, Api, even, Sara, lake, Snato, of one who has bathed, Avishkaroti, arouses. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Of the many objects of favor, delight, and of all the lovable damsels of Rajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love, and in every respect, her divine Kunda is described by great sages as similarly dear to him. Undoubtedly, Radha Kund is very rarely attained even by the great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. If one simply bathes once within those holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused. Purport: why is Radha Kund so exalted? The lake is so exalted because it belongs to Srimati Radharani, who is the most beloved object of Sri Krishna. Among all the gopis, she is the most beloved. Similarly, her lake, Sri Radha Kunda, is also described by great sages as the lake that is as dear to Krishna as Radha herself. Indeed, Krishna's love for Radha Kund and Srimati Radharani is the same in all respects. Radha Kund is very rarely attained, even by great personalities fully engaged in devotional service, not to speak of ordinary devotees who are only engaged in the practice of Vaidihi Bhakti. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Okay, so this we've seen this already, right? Krishna's love for Radha Kund and Radharani are the same. And even those who are engaged in Vaidya Bhakti, so it is out of question, because those who are in the stages of Raganuga Bhakti, even for them to attain this service to Srimati Radharani or Radha Kund is very, very rare. Okay, who else wants to read? Mala Mataji, go ahead. It is stated that
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranams, Jai Srila Prabhupada. It is stated that a devotee will at once develop pure love of Krishna in the wake of the gopis if he once takes a bath in Radha Kund. Srila Rupa Goswami recommends that even if one cannot love permanently on the banks of Radha Kund, he should at least take a bath in the lake as many times as possible. This is a most important item in the execution of devotional service. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in this connection that Sri Radha Kund is the most select place for those interested in advancing their devotional service in the wake of the lady friends, Sakhis, and confidential serving maids, Manjaris, of Srimati Radharani. Loving entities who are eager to return home to the transcendental kingdom of God, Goloka Vrindavan, by means of attaining their spiritual bodies, Siddha Deha, should live in Radha Kund, take shelter of the confidential serving maids of Sri Radha, and under their direction engage constantly in her service. This is the most exalted method for those engaged in devotional service under the protection of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes that even great sages and great devotees like Narada and Sanaka do not get an opportunity to come to Radhakund to take their baths. What then to speak of ordinary devotees? If by great fortune one gets an opportunity to come to Radhakund and bathe even once, he can develop his transcendental love for Krishna exactly as the gopis did. It is also recommended that one should live on the banks of Radhakund and should be absorbed in the loving service of the Lord. One should bathe there regularly and give up all material conceptions, taking shelter of Sri Radha and her assistant gopis. If one thus constantly engaged during his lifetime, after giving up the body, he will return back to Godhead to serve Sri Radha in the same way as he contemplated during his life on the banks of Radha Kund. The conclusion is that to live on the banks of the Radha Kund and to bathe there daily constitute the highest perfection of devotional service. It is a difficult position to attain, even for great sages and devotees like Narada. Thus, there is no limit to the glory of Sri Radha Kund. By serving Radha Kund, one can get an opportunity to become an assistant of Srimati Radharani under the eternal guidance of the gopis. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Wonderful. So, this is with this we come to the end of our nectar of instruction. We complete nectar of instruction. So, what is the essential learning in the entire nectar of instruction? Right? It starts off with how we need to exercise control over, our speech, our anger, our mind, our tongue, our belly, and genitals. And then it moves forward to see what are the factors which help us in bhakti, what are the factors that actually bring down or take us away from bhakti, and then loving relationship between the devotees, and then how we need to identify who's a Kanishta Bhakta, who's a Madhyama Bhakta, who's an Uttama Adhikari. And in this way, we have to offer respects to each person. Like Prabhupada says, that if there is a constable and there is a commissioner of police, both are standing in one place, and then we go and call the constable the commissioner, and then we glorify him so much. Right? The constable himself will feel very embarrassed. He will tell that, no, I am not the commissioner. He is the commissioner. So like that, Prabhupada says that if we glorify the demigods, or that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the demigods themselves will not like it. They will feel embarrassed because they also know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So similarly, we should have the intelligence, right? As well as Bhanu Swami Maharaj in his class was saying, right? We are hearing so much of Bhagavatam, so it is expected that a devotee who is practicing devotional service is able to apply his intelligence to understand who's a Kanishta Adhikari, who's a Madhyama Adhikari, and who's an Uttama Adhikari. Right? One has to have that. One has to develop that intelligence with introspection and with proper understanding, with the guidance of senior devotees. Because the more one is in the process, one has to come to the path of becoming an Madhyama Adhikari, because one has to preach the message of Krishna consciousness. One has to be very careful how to avoid the envious people. One has to be careful to avoid their association, so that one's own bhakti lata does not get cut off like that. And then we saw how one should not see a devotee based on his externals. Like the Ganges, when even though filled with mud, water, and mud, foam, and other impure substances, Yet the Ganges is considered to be very, very auspicious, and one should take bath in the Ganges irrespective of if there is any foam and other things, especially during the rainy season. Right? Prabhupada explains that. So in this way, one should not see a devotee typically on the basis of their external appearance. Right? If we do that, like for example, if somebody is born in a poor family, or somebody is born with some disability, but that person is a devotee, and we think of that particular person on the basis of his bodily identification or bodily platform, then we are again committing Vaishnava aparadh, and that will kill the root of our devotional service. Right? All that hard work that we've got by we've got the seed of bhakti, we are watering it very nicely with chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, with hearing and all those things we are doing. But if we simply commit Vaishnava aparadh, what happens? All of our endeavor becomes zero, because the seed or the root of bhakti itself is cut. That way. That's why it is said Hati Mata Aparadh. Hati Mata Aparadh, just like a mad elephant, when it enters a nice garden, tehas mehas ho jata hai. That's what they say, right? That means the whole place becomes destroyed like that. So similarly, our bhakti, right, which is also a nice garden that we're trying to cultivate, where our bhakti lata is going to cross all the Mahatattva and other things and reach the lotus feet of the Lord. But in between, what are we doing? We're allowing the weeds to grow by doing Vaishnava aparadh, etc. So that is the reason you have to be very careful. What is the kind of association I'm having? What is the kind of behavior that I'm exhibiting towards other devotees? Right? And also, and what is the formula that is given for advancement in Krishna consciousness? Just like a person who has jaundice, what is a medicine for that? Today, sugarcane juice is a medicine, although the person may not relish the sugarcane at this point. Similarly, he continues to take the sugarcane juice until his jaundice is cured, and then he will experience the taste. Similarly, it is mentioned here in Nectar of Instruction that we are now subject to the disease of material existence, because of which we are not able to relish the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. However, just like a person who is having jaundice continues to take the sugarcane juice, because that is only the medicine. Similarly, we have to continue chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as many times as possible. Like yesterday was Ekadashi, right? I saw one devotee had chanted 128 rounds, and I reported in the group. Very wonderful, isn't it? So the more we chant Hare Krishna, the more we will get purified, right? Even though we are not able to chant proper quality rounds, even quantity helps, because it shows our sincerity to the Lord, right? I want to chant more Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. I want to develop a taste in chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So that is very wonderful. So the more we take the medicine, right, then the more faster we will get cured of the disease of material existence. And of course, the last 3 verses spoke about the hierarchy of the Vaikuntha Dham, then Mathura, then Vrindavan, and then Govardhan, and then Radhakund. And then we saw how Srimati Radharani and Radhakund are non-different, and how one should take shelter as lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. She is the mother of devotion. She only has to recommend us to Krishna, right? I believe Amarendra Prabhu was telling, if our file, if Krishna were to look at our file and look at our credentials, okay, Krishna will say, okay, many lifetimes, put the file in the dustbin, right? Because so much of anarthas are there. But then Prabhu was saying that if we engage in nice services to Srimati Radharani, to Shri Radha and Krishna, to Guru and Gauranga, then Srimati Radharani will pass our file to Krishna. And when Srimati Radharani passes our file to Krishna, what happens? Krishna does not open the file. Right? Krishna says, okay, you have okayed, right? In the government offices and all, they do that, right? The head does not look at the files, right? Aapne dekh liya, to pass karo. Aisa, when Srimati Radharani checks the file, right? Srimati Radharani does not see any qualification. If you have the desire to serve the Lord, she will pass our file. And that is our only hope. And Krishna does not check the file. If Radharani is recommending somebody, Krishna will take that person onto his entourage of servitors. And that is our only hope. We can never perfect our life. We can never purify our life in such a way that we don't have even a single anartha that, by our own endeavor. We can never do it. But simply by the blessings and mercy of our gurus, the blessings of Vaishnavas, we will attract the mercy of Srimati Radharani. And with the mercy of Srimati Radharani, we will be able to get opportunity to serve Shri Radha and Krishna. And that is our only hope. Nectar of Instruction ki jai, Sri Rupa Goswami ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Okay, we've successfully completed another book Our book number 14 is done. So Monday, we will look forward to studying teachings of Lord Chaitanya by His Divine Grace, Avai Charanarang Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I'm so looking forward to studying teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So we'll start it from Monday. Okay, now let's go back to our Bhagavad Gita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are in chapter number 4. Okay, so just to run a quick recap, in chapter number 1, Arjuna is giving reasons why he will not fight, and in chapter number 2, Arjuna is asking Krishna to take the chariot. Krishna is the charioteer of Arjuna, right? We all know, we saw that past time how Arjuna and Duryodhana go to Krishna, and Duryodhana is getting the entire Narayana Sena, whereas Arjuna is satisfied with just having Krishna with him. And in this way, the battle starts. The battle is already started. Everybody has blown their conches. Bhishma Pitamaha starts blowing the conch. And there are also signs which are telling that the transcendental conches are blown by the Pandavas and victory is already assured there. All of this is very, very clear. But yet, by the arrangement of Lord Krishna, what happens? Arjuna is asking Krishna to place the chariot in between both the armies, and Krishna places the chariot in a very strategic location where he is able to see Bhishma Pitamaha, Dronacharya, Kripacharya and all standing on the other side. And he gets bewildered and he says, I don't want to fight. And then, he gives reasons. And then, Prajnavadam Shabhashase, right? It looks like Arjuna is very, very intelligent and he's talking learned words of wisdom. But then he's confused. I don't know what to do, right? Sometimes we also tell so many things, right, to our gurus also sometimes. So I think this will only work. I think we should do like this. And then finally we say, I'm very confused. You tell me what I should do. Isn't it? So like that, finally, after giving all of his intelligence, applying everything, he suddenly tells Krishna, I'm so confused. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava prachami tvam dharma samoda chetah yashreyasya nischitam bruhi tanme sishyastiyaham shadi mam tvam prapanna. I surrender myself unto you, O Krishna. Please take me as your disciple and guide me. So in this way, when he surrenders to Krishna, then Krishna starts giving the jnana, right? Asochan anna sochastam prajnavadam shabhashase gatasun agatasumscha nanu shochanti panditaha. So Krishna told Arjuna, you are mourning for things that are not worthy of grief, right? So you are not a learned person, you are a fool, like that. And that's how he starts, right? We also see in Prabhupada Lilamrita how, like Prabhupada also told Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who will listen to our message? Our country is under the British rule. Who will listen to our message? And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, Krishna consciousness is so urgent and important that it cannot wait for any change of rule. And Prabhupada told at that time, he was Abhay Charan, he said that Krishna consciousness is in the hands of an able person. And he also told his friend Narendranath Malik that I have already accepted him as my spiritual master in my mind. And I was, he mentions in Prabhupada Lilamrita that I was so happy to be defeated by my spiritual master. Right? So when the spiritual master calls us a fool, when the spiritual master guides us, that is the greatest blessing. Right? But when the spiritual master praises us, then that is a sign of warning. Right? Because when somebody praises us, then what happens? Our sense of false ego increases. Ahankara increases. Especially when our spiritual master praises us, then, we kind of grow two horns. It grows automatically. That is why the best position to be in is to serve the Guru in a way that pleases the Guru. And when the spiritual master chastises us, that is the greatest benediction. Because if the spiritual master is chastising us, right, we only chastise people who are very close to us, right? Like, for example, if my daughter is doing some mistake, right, I will shout at her, I will tell her how to do properly. But on the road, when I see, somebody else's daughter or somebody else's child is doing some mischief, right? Will I go and correct that person? Of course not, isn't it? She's got her own mother or her own father to correct it, right? So whoever chastises us or whoever corrects us, right, we should know that such a person thinks of us as their own, right? Otherwise, who has the time to correct other people, to look at other people's sadhana, to look at other people? We don't have the time. We have very limited time. And in that, we have to practice our own sadhana. So if we are in the shelter of Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, who are correcting us, then we are greatly fortunate. We should be very grateful to such gurus who are helping us in the process of Krishna consciousness. So why was I saying all this? Oh, yeah. Okay, I just lost this. Okay, so why was I saying this? Arjuna was chastised by Krishna and Arjuna took it in his stride, right? And Arjuna was making more and more inquiry to his spiritual master, who is Krishna. So that is the attitude we should also have. It's not that when I'm chastised by my Shiksha Guru, I don't go. Next counseling meeting, I don't go. Because he shouted at me in front of everybody, right? Where is my respect, right? What would people think of me? That is Kanishta mentality, right? But when we know that whoever is our Shiksha Guru is telling us for our own benefit, we are all in the process of purification. Like Her Grace Nita Sevani Mataji was telling in a class, right? It is like all of us have had prasadam. We are all standing in the line to wash our hands, right? All of our hands are dirty. We had prasadam. But then what happens when we are in the queue, each one of us goes and wash our hands. Then what is it? We become very clean. So like that, we are all standing in the queue to become purified, right? As long as we are in the queue, as long as we follow the instructions, we will get purified ultimately, right? But if we go away from the queue, then we continue to have that dirt in our hands or the dirt in our heart, like that, right? So we should take every chastisement, taking this example of Krishna chastising Arjuna, we should take every chastisement, especially of our Shiksha Gurus and Diksha Guru, as something that's beneficial for us, for our advancement in Krishna consciousness. All right, so later on, what does Krishna do? Krishna tells what is Sankhya Yoga, what is Karma Yoga, what is Bhakti Yoga, all of that. And then he summarizes the second chapter. Okay, you perform your duty and surrender to me and do it for my pleasure. You'll go back to Godhead. And then in the third chapter, Arjuna asks Krishna, right? I'm confused. Should I go and beg in the forests, or should I perform my duty? You are saying I should perform my duty, but at the same time you're saying I should not be attached to the results. Then in that case, how will I fight? Right? So generally, when we are very passionate about some work, we are always expecting results for it, right? So that is a passionate man's consciousness, right? And Kshatriyas are passionate because they want to conquer a kingdom, they want to rule the kingdom, like that, right? They are very passionate. So Arjuna is asking Krishna, how do I perform my duty also, and how do I not be attached to it also, and how do I offer it to you also? So that is the third chapter completely on Karma Yoga. Karma Niyavadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Give the results to me. Ma karma phala heturbur mati sangostva karmani. Like that, the entire third chapter, Krishna is talking about the three doers and how the jiva is only desiring. And in the fourth chapter, what we are currently doing is Arjuna is now asking Krishna, okay, give me that knowledge by which I get the strength to perform my duty without being attached. And then Krishna is now giving the knowledge, the transcendental knowledge, initially by saying that this knowledge comes via disciplic succession. It is not that my mental speculation or my material intelligence I will be able to understand Bhagavad Gita. So many people have read the Bhagavad Gita, memorized the verses. I know in South India, many people know the 700 verses Ratta. They start from verse number 1 means they'll end only. Dhritarashtra Vacha say, the last may Sanju Vacha, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Parthu Dhanurtaraha. Till that, they are Ratta. Full memorizing the entire Bhagavad Gita, but the application of each one of the verse also is not possible, right? Because they have their own concoctions, to surrender unto the impersonal form of the Lord that is behind the Lord, and then Krishna is subject to Maya. When Krishna, we can also perfect our life. Then when we lose our material body, we can also become God. So much confusing. They themselves don't know what they know, what they don't know. That is why it is very difficult to unlearn wrong things and learn the correct things. That is why you should always learn the correct things from the right person for the first time itself, right? Otherwise, unlearning becomes a huge time consuming, right? More than it's difficult, it's very, very time consuming, and we have to stay put to understand the right thing. So what is the best way of acquiring knowledge? Evam parampara praptam imam rajarsyo viduhu sakalanehamata yogo nashta parantapa. So even if the disciplic succession is broken, that does not mean one go and learn from anybody. Right? Krishna has re-established the disciplic succession by giving the knowledge to Arjuna. But why only Arjuna? Right? That's because Arjuna is bhaktosime sakhacheti rahasyam hi etat uttamam. I'm giving you this transcendental knowledge. This is the secret of all secrets, because you are my devotee and you are my friend and you're not envious of me. So like this, Krishna starts explaining the characteristics of who is a devotee, who is a demon. And then I've given this knowledge to Sun God, and Sun God gave this knowledge to Vivaswan, Manu, and all that. But then Arjuna is not able to understand. Arjuna is saying, you and I are of the same age. How do I understand that you have given this knowledge? Right? All this was there. And then Krishna gave the reason that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I know all the birds that you and I have taken, but you do not know. And then Krishna talks about the two primary reasons of his appearance, which are the very famous verses. We'll not go into that. Yada yada hi dharmasyan paritranaya sadhuna. And then the very important verse, which also says that one who knows my transcendental appearance and activities and nature will not take birth again in this material world. So it was 4.9. And then Krishna is talking about what are the things, like Arjuna asks, why am I forced to commit certain sinful actions, although I am determined not to perform them? And then Krishna answers that lust is the in fact, lust, anger, and greed. But what is the root? The root is lust, because fulfilled lust we know will lead to greed. I want more, more, more. I am not happy with whatever I've received, because that is the nature of the mind. I always want more. Dil mange more. And then if the lust is not satisfied, it leads to anger. So how can we come out of it? Then Krishna says, as you surrender to me and take my help, I will reward accordingly, like that. Okay, and then Krishna talks about the jivo jivasya jivanam, right? How each of the living entities are dependent on one another, actually to sustain and maintain themselves, right? Like the demigods are there is when we perform yajnas, then they actually satisfy the demigods. The demigods provide us rains. We see that in even the Govardhan Leela of Lord Shri Krishna. Right, so in this way we are all interdependent, right? The herbivorous animals, they eat grass, etc. The carnivorous animals, they eat the herbivorous animals or other animals, right? And for human beings also we have specific patram pushpam phalam toyam, like that, right? And so Krishna is saying each one is created according to their past desires, and they've all acquired a certain mode, now, which is either sattvic or rajasic or tamasic, right? According to guna karma vibhagasha. That means one can be a brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra, not by birth, but by one's own desires and one's activities. And Krishna is saying one should perform one's own duty, even though he cannot commit it, he cannot do it perfectly, rather than perform somebody else's duty, like that. Okay, so let's go ahead. I think we are on verse number 16, isn't it? Yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yeah. So we have to start from 4.16, right? So 4.15, what was it? 4.15 was talking about Edam Yatva Kritam Karma Purve Rapi Mumukshubhi Kuru Karmaiva Tasmatvam Purve Purva Taram Kritam. That means all the liberated souls acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. What is that understanding? Perform one's duty. Whatever is one's duty according to one's varna ashrama, one should perform those duties, and in this way one becomes free from karma bandhana, right? Yajnatat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. If you perform our duty as yajna, that means for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we will not be bound by karma. We'll be performing what is called as a karma. Now further on karma, Krishna will start speaking now. Let me share my screen here. Yeah. Yeah, text number 16. Okay, Manimala Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat. Yes.
Mataji, after you, I will recite.
Oh, okay. Kim karma, kim akarmeti.
Kim karma gi akarmati.
Kim karma, kim akarmeti.
Kim karma kim akarmeti.
Kavayo api atra mohitaha.
Kavayo atra to mohita.
Tatte karma pravakshami.
Tatre karma pravakshami.
Yajnatva mokshase shubhat.
Yajjesa moksho shase sumat. Kim, what is? Karma, action. Kim, what is? Akarma, inaction. Iti, thus. Kavaya, the intelligent. Api, also. Atra, in this matter. Mohita, bewildered. Tat, that. Te, unto you. Karma, work. Parvaktami, I shall explain. Yet, which. Gantva, knowing. Mokshase, be liberated. Ashubhat, from ill fortune. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all sins. Purport done by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Action in Krishna consciousness has to be executed in accord with the examples of previous bona fide devotees. This is recommended in the 15th verse. Why such action should not be independent will be explained in the in the text to follow. To act in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of authorized persons who are in a line of disciplic succession, as explained in the beginning of this chapter. The system of Krishna consciousness was first narrated to the sun god. The sun god explained it to his son Manu. Manu explained it to his son Ikavashu, and the system is current on this earth from that remote time. Therefore, one has to follow in the footsteps of previous authorities in the line of disciplic succession. Even the man will be bewildered regarding standard accents of Krishna consciousness. For this reason, the Lord decided to instruct Arjuna in Krishna consciousness directly. Because of the direct instruction of the Lord to Arjuna, and who follows in the footsteps of Arjuna is certainly not bewildered.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hari Bol Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So here, one important point that Prabhupada mentions in the purport is Arjuna is getting this gyan from Krishna, right? So Krishna becomes a spiritual master of Arjuna. So whatever knowledge Arjuna is actually receiving from Krishna, and the knowledge that we are receiving from our spiritual masters, which is our Siksha Gurus and our Diksha Guru, right? That knowledge and this knowledge, there is no difference. Why? Because both are spiritual knowledge only, and both are received in a proper disciplic succession. So there is no difference between the knowledge that is received by Arjuna directly from Krishna and the knowledge that we are receiving in the process of bona fide parampara, which is also starting from Lord Sri Krishna himself. Right? So one should always follow the authorized persons. That means when I hear from anybody, when I give my time to anybody, I should understand if this particular person is speaking as per the parampara. That is very, very important, right? Otherwise, it will be a waste of time. Shrama eva hi kevalam, like that. Okay, Manimala Mataji, go ahead. It is said that
one cannot ascertain the ways of religion simply by imperfect experimental knowledge. Actually, the principles of religion can only be laid down by the Lord himself. Dharmam hi sakshat bhagavat.
Dharmam tu bhagavat pranitam.
Bhagavat pranitam. No one can manufacture a religious principle by imperfect speculation. One must follow in the footsteps of great authorities like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Manu, Kumara, Kapila, Prahlada, Bhisma, Sukadeva, Goswami, Yamaraja, Janaka, etc. By mental speculation, one cannot ascertain what is religion or self-realization. Therefore, out of causeless mercy to his devotees, the Lord explains directly to Arjuna what action is and what inaction is. Only action performed in Krishna consciousness can deliver a person from the entanglement of material existence.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Right? What is that? How does it start? Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Balir Vaya Sakir Vayam Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumaro Kapilo Manu Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Balir Vaya Saki Vayam. Right? The Vayam refers to Yamaraj. Yamaraj is actually quoting this verse. Right? These are all Mahajans. Right? Mahajano Yena Gatasa Panta. We should always follow in the footsteps of Mahajans. That means we should follow in the footsteps of our Acharyas who are coming in the disciplic succession. We should also have Anusharan and Anukaran. Anukaran means you are imitating those activities. We should not do that. We cannot imitate the activities of great souls, but we follow their instructions and perform what they tell us to do. Because what do they tell us? Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. We should always be guided by Guru, Shastra and Sadhu. Right? The Guru does not say anything that is contradictory to sadhu and shastra, right? And shastra is the basis for everything. Why? Because shastra are given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. That is why in the Vamanadev Pasam also, we see that Bali Maharaj is going against the words of Shukracharya. Because Shukracharya is advising him not to give the promise to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because Shukracharya says that this is the Lord himself, so don't give him 3 steps of land. So in that scenario, when the spiritual master is advising us to go against the Lord, that is a situation where one can reject one's spiritual master also. But one should base one's knowledge not on sentimental reasons, but one should base one's knowledge based on Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. That's why it's called the tripod, right? All of the 3 are always in sync. If something is not in sync, then we need to introspect what is going wrong. Otherwise, the Sadhu, Shastra, and Sadhu, Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu, they are always in sync with each other because they are all repeating the words of Krishna as it is, right? Bhagavad Gita as it is. That means what? Whatever Prabhupada says in a lecture, right? Krishna says, surrender unto me. We say surrender unto Krishna. So there is no misinterpretation. There is no trying to mince words or adding or subtracting or multiplying or division, adding whatever I like, right? So that's what it is. All right, so let's quickly move on to text number 17. Text number 17. Shri Priya Mataji, go ahead. Karmano hi api bodhavyam.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Karmanyopi bodhavyam cha vikarmanah akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gati. Synonyms: karmana, of work, he, certainly, api, also, bodhavyam, should be understood, bodhavyam, should be understood, cha, also, vikarmanah, of forbidden work, akarmana, of inaction, cha, also, bodhavyam, should be understood, gahana, very difficult, karmana, of work, gati, entrance. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Purport: if one is serious about liberation from material bondage, one has to understand the distinctions between action, inaction, and unauthorized actions. One has to apply oneself to such an analysis of action, reaction, and perverted action because it is very difficult subject matter. To understand Krishna consciousness and action according to its modes, one has to learn one's relationship with Supreme. That is, one has to learn it perfectly, knows that every living entity is an eternal servitor of the Lord, and that consequently one has to act in Krishna consciousness. The entire Bhagavad Gita is directed towards this conclusion. Any other conclusions against this consciousness and its attendant actions are vikarmas, or prohibited actions. To understand all this, one has to associate with authorities in Krishna consciousness and learn the secret from them. This is as good as learning from the Lord directly. Otherwise, even the most intelligent persons will be bewildered. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Krishna, thank you so much. Yeah. So generally, if we see the word inaction, it looks to us that you should not be performing any action. Right, we are very happily we can go to sleep, right? Don't have to do any action, so we can just sleep and laze around. But that is not the meaning. That is the danger of trying to understand the word using mental speculation, right? Because generally, what do we think? That's what we've learned, right? Inaction means not to do any work, right? Relax, right? But that's not the meaning in a spiritual parlance, right? Inaction means to perform one's duty, but not being in expectation of the result. Doing it for the pleasure of the Lord, that is inaction, or it is a karma. And what is karma? Karma means we perform some action, but we want to get the results of that action, right? For example, I've studied very hard for the exam, so I want to get first rank in the exam, right? Or I want to excel, or I want to get admission in my desired college, whatever it may be, right? That is karma. And then what is vikarma? Vikarma means I want to perform some sinful actions. That means, I want to steal, some or the other, I want to pursue my sense gratification. And for that, I don't even look in the eyes of dharma, right? I just do whatever I like. And in that way, I perform something or the other for my sense gratification. And that way, I'm performing vikarma. Vikarma means I will get sinful reactions. For the reactions for my sinful actions is Vikarma. That means I may be sent, such a person may be sent to the hell, or may be sent to the lower planetary systems for suffering. And a person who's doing nice pious activities, good charity, etc., he will go to the heavenly planets where he is gaining a lot of enjoyment. But a person who's performing a karma, inaction, is a person who's not getting entangled. He need not come back to this material world to enjoy, nor does he have to come back to this world to suffer for his actions. So in that way, we all want to perform inaction only, right? We want to perform inaction in the sense that we want to do work not for our sense gratification, but as service to the Supreme Lord. Okay, text number 18. Sindhu Mataji, go ahead. Karmanya karma ya pashed.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Text
Krishna.
18.
Yeah.
Text 18. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Karmani akarmaya yah pashed akarmani cha karmayah sa buddhiman manusheshu sa yuktah Krishna karmakrit. Translation and purport by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who sees inaction in action.
Synonyms, word to word translation. Karmani, in action. Akarma.
Yeah. Karmani in action, akarma in action. Yaha one who pashyet observes akarmani in inaction. Cha also karma fruitive action. Yaha one who saha he buddhiman is intelligent. Manusheshu in human society. Saha he yuktaha is in the transcendental position. Krishna karmakrit, although engaged in all activities. Translation and purport by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. Purport: a person acting in Krishna consciousness is naturally free from the bonds of karma. His activities are all performed for Krishna, therefore, he does not enjoy or suffer any of the effects of work. Consequently, he is intelligent in human society, even though he is engaged in all sorts of activities for Krishna. Akarma means without reaction to work. The impersonalist ceases fruitive activities out of fear, so that the resultant action may not be a stumbling block on the path of self-realization. But the personalist knows rightly his position as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he engages himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness. Because everything is done for Krishna, he enjoys only transcendental happiness in the discharge of this service. Those who are engaged in this process are known to be without desire for personal sense gratification. The sense of eternal servitorship to Krishna makes one immune to all sorts of reactionary elements of work.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, so we already discussed this, right? So we should be always endeavoring to perform a karma. That means actions that don't give me either positive reactions or negative reactions, right? Both of which are detrimental to my perfecting my human form of life. Okay, Sudha Mataji, go ahead. Text number 19.
Hare Krishna,
Yes,
Mataji.
Ramba. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Mataji.
Mataji. Yes, yasya sarve samarambha tapa sankalpa varjita jnanapi datta karmanam tamaho panditam buddha. Synonyms: yasya, one whose, survey, all sorts of, samarambha, attempts, kama, based on desire for sense gratification, sankalpa, determination, varjita, are devoid of, jnana, of perfect knowledge, agni, by the fire, dagda, burned, karmanam, whose work, tam, him, ahu, declare, panditam, learned, buddha, those who know. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burnt up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Purport: only a person in full knowledge can understand the activities of a person in Krishna consciousness. Because a person in Krishna consciousness is devoid of all kinds of sense gratificatory propensities, it is to be understood that he has burned up the reactions of his work by perfect knowledge of his constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is actually learned who has attained to such perfection of knowledge. Development of this knowledge of eternal servitorship to the Lord is compared to fire. Such a fire, once kindled, can burn up all kinds of reactions to work. Thank you, Mataji. Very good.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Right, wonderful, isn't it? This particular verse is very, very hope-giving, right? Otherwise, what is the hope that we have? So we have so much of anarthas in our heart. How are we going to get cleansed of all of that, right? That is why Cheto Darpana Marjanam, right? Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam, right? Sense gratification is burning in our heart, right? And what is the like, for example, the example is given of forest fire, right? Sometimes just two stones rub against each other and there is big forest fire, and any amount of buckets of water that we throw on such fire, it cannot extinguish the fire. So only by the mercy of the supreme of Guru, right? The Guru's mercy flows like the rain, right? Only when the rain falls on the forest like that, only then the forest fire can be extinguished. Similarly, the fire that is burning in our heart, the fire of sense gratification, is burning so much that by our own endeavor we cannot even bring it down, right? But when the mercy of the spiritual master is there, by the blessings of the Vaishnavas, by the blessings of our Shiksha Gurus, our Diksha Guru, what happens? By their mercy, then this fire of sense gratification can also be extinguished, just like forest fire is extinguished by the downpour of rain, like that. All right, let's move to the next verse. Share screen. Text number 20. Yeah, text number 20. Who will read? Karpagavali Mataji, go ahead.
Mataji, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, after you, Mataji.
Yeah. Tyaktva karma phala sangam.
Tattva karma phala sangam.
Nitya tripto nirashrayaha.
Nitya tripto nirashrayaha.
Karmani abhi
Karmani abhi pravatopi.
Naiva kinchit karoti saha.
Naiva kinchit karoti saha. Synonyms. Mataji, pronounce it, Mataji.
Tattva. We saw that verse in second chapter also. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti swarjuna. Tyaktva means to give up. Tyaktva deham means give up the body. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti. That means once I give up this body, I will not have another life in this material world. Punarjanma naiti. I will not have another life in this material world. Mameti swarjuna. You will come back to me. Tyaktva deham. Tyaktva means to give up something. Yeah.
Tattva, having given up. Karma phala asangam. Attachment for fugitive results. Nitya, always. Triptaha, being satisfied. Nirashraya, without any shelter. Karmani, inactivity. Abhiparvata, being fully engaged. Abhi, in spite of. Na, does not. Iva, certainly. Kinchit, anything. Karoti, do. Saha, see, he. Translation by Prabhupada Kije. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Purport. This freedom from the bondage of action is possible only in Krishna consciousness. When one is doing everything for Krishna, a Krishna conscious person acts out of pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he has no attraction for the results of the action. He is not even attached to his personal maintenance. For everything he is left to Krishna, nor is he anxious to secure things, nor to protect things already in his possession. He does his duty to the best of his ability and leaves everything to Krishna. Such an unattached person is always free from certain reactions of good and bad. It is as though he were not doing anything. This is a sign of akarma, or actions without fruitive reactions. Any other action, therefore, devoid of Krishna consciousness, is binding upon the worker, and that is the real aspect of vikarma, as explained herein before. Thank you, Mataji. Dandatnam.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So when do we have anxiety? When we have anxiety only when we want certain results. And whether or not I will get the results or not is actually killing us, right? Whether I will get 100 marks in maths, whether I will get the admission into my desired college, right? We can have anxiety to the extent it helps us. It propels us to do some action. right? I always mention this. Gaur Gopal Prabhu. He always says, can you do something about it? Then do it. Why worry about it? If you cannot do something about it, then why worry about it? We can't do anything. It is beyond it's beyond our capacity to do anything, right? Why worry? And if we can do something, do it. And even then, we don't have to worry. So like that. So we can apply this principle only when we understand this verse. Bhoktaram yajnatapasam sarvalokam maheshwaram suhradam sarvabhutanam nyatva mam shanti mrichati. We can experience shanti, right? Because that's why Prabhupada says in the purport, this is the peace formula. This formula for peace is when I know that everything is not within my control. I am so infinitesimal, right? But everything is within the control of the Lord, and the Lord is my best friend. Whatever the Lord does is going to be beneficial for me, right? So in this way, I can be fearless, right? Bhajahu Remana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Ravindare. To the extent we are surrendered to the Lord, to that extent we will be fearless. To the extent we are fearful, we should understand we are not surrendering to the Lord, and we should try, right? We're all conditioned souls. Sometimes we surrender to the Lord, sometimes we get so much anxiety, especially when it comes to our near and dear ones experiencing something. Then we have to we recollect these verses. Then Krishna says, Mata Smriti Jnanam Apanam Cha. Krishna will give us intelligence. If we sincerely desire to see everything from the Shastra Chakshushaha, that means on the light of the scriptures, then Krishna will give us intelligence. How do we apply this transcendental knowledge in our own lives like that? Okay, text number 21. Okay, we'll take this as the last verse. We will have our dear Shobha Mataji read text number 21. Yes, Mataji, go ahead. Oh, now Kishori Mataji is there. Okay, we'll read next verse also. Yes.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna,
Mataji.
Pranam Mataji, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nirashir yata chittatma tvakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kutvan napnoti kilmisam. Synonym, should I read Mataji? Synonym.
Yes.
And translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nira, without desire for the result. Yatha, control. Chittatma, mind and intelligence. Tvakta, giving up. Sarva, all. Parigraha, senses of proprietorship over possession. Shariram, in keeping body and soul together. Kevalam, only. Karma, work. Kurvan, doing. No, never. Apnoti, does acquire. Kilpisam, sinful reactions. Translation. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all senses of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. Popat, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A Krishna conscious person does not expect good or bad results in his activities. His mind and intelligence are fully controlled. He knows that because he is part and parcel of the Supreme, the part played by him as a part and parcel of the whole is not his own activity, but is only being done through him by the Supreme. When the hand moves, it does not move out of his own accord, but by the endeavor of the whole body. A Krishna conscious person is always dovetail with the supreme desire, for he has no desire for personal sense gratification. He moves exactly like a part of the machine. A machine part requires oiling and cleaning for maintenance, so a Krishna conscious man maintains himself by his work just to remain fit for action in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. He is therefore immune to all the reactions of his endeavors. Like an animal, he has no proprietorship even over his own body. A cruel proprietor of an animal sometimes kills the animal in his possession, yet the animal does not protest, nor does it have any real independence. A Krishna conscious person fully engaged in self realization has very little time to falsely possess any material object. For maintaining body and soul, he does not require unfair means of accumulating money. He does not therefore become contaminated by such material sins. He is free from all reactions to his actions. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Yeah. So very nice example Prabhupada is giving here, right? Just as a machine part requires oiling and it requires cleaning for maintenance, so the machine runs well, right? It needs care, it needs attention, it needs time, right? And servicing has to be done. So similarly, we have to maintain this body simply as an instrument by which we can serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in that way, when we are detached from the body and we detach from sense gratification and we perform our activities only as a matter of duty, then we will not be then it becomes easy for us not to be attached to the results of our activities, knowing very well that I am only one of the three doers. I am desiring to do it, and because the Lord has sanctioned it, the thing is happening, and also Prakriti is arranging it. So the Prakriti is arranging the situation by which a particular activity can actually be done like that. Okay, text number 22. Now Kishori Mataji, go ahead. Last verse for today. Yeah. Mataji, you need to unmute yourself. Rohini Mataji, I have sent you a chat message. You can just check that. Yeah. Okay, now Kishori Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Dandavat pranam, Mataji.
Dandavat Mataji.
Yaduchala santushto dvandahito vimassaraha samaha sitavasito cha krutvapi na nipatyate. Synonym. Yaducha out of its own accord, labha with gain, satisfied, duality, aditaha, impressed, vimata saraha, free from.
Your voice is breaking, Mataji. Very, very too much disturbance also. Vimat saraha, free from envy.
Sure, Mataji. You see, Siddha in success or Siddha failure. Cha also kritva doing P also na never nibadhyate become affected, becomes affected. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He who is satisfied with the gain which comes of his own accord, who is free from duality and does not who is who is steady in both success and failure is never entangled, although performing actions. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A Krishna conscious person does not make much endeavor even to maintain his body. He is satisfied with gains which are obtained of their own accord. He neither begs or borrows, but he labors honestly as far as in his power, and is satisfied with whatever is obtained by his own honest labor. He is therefore independent in his livelihood. He does not allow anyone's service to hamper his own service in Krishna consciousness. However, for the service of the Lord, he can participate in any kind of action without being disturbed by the duality of the material world. The duality of material world is felt in the terms of heat and cold, or misery and happiness. A Krishna conscious person is about duality because he does not hesitate to act in any way for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, he is steady both in success and in failure. These signs are visible when one is fully in transcendental knowledge. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
So that's why the second chapter is called the contents of the Gita summarized. Right? Krishna has already mentioned this in the second chapter. So what does he say there? Matras prashasta konteya sito ushna sukha dukkada. Right? Happiness, sadness, heat and cold. One should tolerate these dualities. These dualities will always be there in the material world. Yeah. So one should learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. And that is a person who is Krishna conscious. Right? Because the Krishna conscious person knows that I have to do my duty for the satisfaction of Krishna, whether I like it or not, whether it is bringing me success or failure. And that is the principle of actually having this transcendental knowledge. Yeah. So with this, we come to an end of our today's session of Bhagavad Gita, and we will meet next on Monday, where we will start teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and then we continue chapter 4 from text number 23. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Shri Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. So devotees can switch on your cameras and give me darshan. And then by the time we'll quickly do 2-3 minutes of Harinam Sankirtan. Today we will be ending on time. No. What time is going to be 2 o'clock. Oh, okay, 1:45. All right. So in 2 minutes we'll do Kirtan and then we will we'll end. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami नामिनीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवाद अशक्यादिशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरा भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय राधा माधव जय श्री राधा माधव जय जय प्रभुपाद गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल कृष्ण 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 हे कृष्ण 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 हे कृष्ण 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 पाहि मां राम राघव रक्ष मां कृष्ण केशव पाहि मां राम राघव रक्ष मां कृष्ण 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 हे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल श्री श्री गौर निताय निताय गौर सुंदर जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा मैया सुदर्शन जी लड्डू गोपाल जी की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा Okay, so we have Shri Priya Sampat Mataji. I am seeing you for the first time today. Thank you for your darshan. Hare Krishna. द्वादशी तिथि अच्छे से दर्शन मिल रहा है devotees का. All right, Sridhar Prabhu is there. Sarvagopishri Shri Mataji, Rohini Mataji, Karpagavalli Mataji is there. Mala Mataji. I think Mala Mataji also. I'm seeing you for the first time. Thank you. Jayalakshmi Priya Mataji, Sudha Mataji, Manimala Mataji, Shobha Mataji, and all the devotees who've joined me today. Thank you all very much. Please do join us on Monday at 12:30 p.m. We'll be starting teachings of Lord Chaitanya. We want to become Gauranga conscious for the next 18 days. His Grace Gaur Gopal Prabhu says, if you do something for 21 days, then it will become like a habit for us, right? So let's try to become Gauranga conscious from today only. Why wait for Monday? From now onwards, okay, and I believe all of you all are there in our festival group where we are studying one verse every day, 3 times and translation. In this way, we will be able to memorize the verse. And as we walk around, fold the clothes, sweep, mop, all those things, we can continuously recite those verses. That is what is meant by Gauranga conscious, right? Remembering Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And especially when we know the meaning of the verse, then, very nice, isn't it? We remember the Lord, we remember the beauty of the Lord, the glory of the Lord, the mission of the Lord. And this way, we become Gauranga conscious all the time. So meet you all on Monday. And of course, tomorrow morning we meet Brahma Muhurta chanting, whoever is joining us for that. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So if anyone has any query or any questions or any realizations, you may share it now. Otherwise, we can end the session. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Anything from anyone? All right. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, may I?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Mataji, I have a small doubt. Usually when we read some slokas, like Vishnu Sahasranam or something, like Falashruti is given at the end of the shlokas. So do we read the Falashruti or we should not be reading the Falashruti, or why is it given?
Yeah, Falashruti, even in Bhagavatam verse, the last, sometimes last verse gives a Falashruti. So Falashruti is to encourage people to study the particular scripture, right? So but what is the phala that we want? The only phala that we want is Krishna Prem, right? And we know that Bhagavatam is Amala Puran. So we don't read a scripture because of its Falashruti, because we read those scriptures which will give us the Falashruti of Krishna Prem. That is the difference in the consciousness. Generally, if I want some materialistic results, then what do? We pray, we read those verses from the Vedic scriptures which will help to satisfy that desire. That is where Falashruti becomes important. But then in Krishna consciousness, we work only for attaining Krishna Prema. So we know Bhagavatam, if we study, we will get our desired success. So we have prescription of what we should do to attain Krishna Prema. So other Falashruti, like even in Narsimha Kavacham, it says Putravan, Dhanavan, Loki, Dirgha, Yurubhajayate, Yam Yam Kamayate Kamam, Tam Tam Prapnuti Asamshayam. Right? So like that, Falashruti is given. But we are chanting Narsimha Kavacham for the obstacles to be removed from our devotional service. That's all. We are not chanting for Putravan, Dhanavan, Loke, right? I want a son, I want Dhana, I want wealth, etc. So those are byproducts, right? We were talking about how, when somebody from the United States, they've been there for 20 years. They're coming back to India to attend a relative's function, to a relative's marriage, right? At that time, when they come to Bombay, they have also a house in Bombay. So they are saying, okay, anyway, I'm coming to Bombay, so I will also get my house cleaned. But they're not coming to clean the house. They are coming to attend the relative's wedding and have a good time with the relatives. But at that time, what happens? Other things like cleaning the house, all that also is taken care of like that. So this Putravan, Dhanavan, Loki, all of those Falashrutis are byproducts, which automatically happen when we study Vedic scriptures. But we predominantly study only for Krishna Prem. Okay, Mataji?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
You have told today in Nectar of Instructions, Vipro Shambhogo. Mataji, please repeat again for my understanding.
Which one?
Shambhogo. Shambhogo and Vipro Shambhogo. Shambhogo is...
Mataji, your voice is breaking. I cannot...
Can you hear me, ma'am? Mataji?
Yeah, now it's better. Yes.
Vipro Shambhogo. It is in Nectar of Instructions.
Which was?
Shambhogo and Vipro Shambhogo. Service given and it is without reciprocation. When we do something, not expecting anything in reciprocation.
Ahaituki and apratihata. Right?
No, Mataji, Shambhogo, pleasure,
Okay, Mataji, you need to tell me the verse number, or do one thing, just write to me on my WhatsApp. I will get back to you.
Okay, Mataji. Okay, Mataji.
Okay? Okay, Rohini Mataji recently heard a wonderful acronym from Sanatana Dharmadas Prabhu. Lust, anger, greed will lag one's spiritual journey. Yeah, very nice. Thank you. And envy, Amarendra Prabhu says, envy is no vacancy in the spiritual world. Yeah. So we need such acronyms in the Kali Yuga to remember and practice. Yeah. Okay. And Rohini Mataji, I sent you the message that also post the link so that we can. Okay. Monimala Mataji, this is my number in case you don't have. So please post your message on this WhatsApp. Yeah. I'll come back to you. Give me the reference. Oh, sorry. 9819162228. Okay. So write to me and also give me the context of the verse of NOI, and then you can post your query. I will get back to you. Okay, Manimala Mataji.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you. Hari Bol.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Nectar of Instruction ki jai. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya ki jai. Hare
Jai.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna. Thank you,
Have a
pranam.
Mataji.
separate group
Dandavat pranam.
festivals.
Dandavat pranam.
Yeah, who's speaking?
Mataji, Hare Krishna. Do we have
Yeah.
separate festivals?
If we have a separate group called festival, I will okay, you can also write to me at this number. I will share the link of that group with you. We are studying one verse of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, so we can remember Mahaprabhu like that. Yeah. Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Manasi
Jai.
Mataji, anything?
Also. Please, Mataji, add me also in this group. And Mataji, I had one small doubt that in when Prabhupada is explaining the soul, he says soul is aparvartiniya. So what does that mean, Mataji?
Which was?
Aparvartiniya. In the chapter 2, when he's explaining about the soul, immovable, indestructible, Nainam Krindanti Shastrani, Nainam Dadati Pavaka. I think so. He says that soul is aparavartiniya in the English and non-progressive. So if you can clarify that.
Chindanti Shastrani means the soul cannot be killed by any weapon. Nainam Chindanti Shastrani. Na kledayanti apo na shocheti marutaha. That means the soul cannot be destroyed by, the soul cannot be destroyed by weapons. The soul cannot be dried by air, and the soul cannot be moistened by water.
So in that, he uses, in one of those shlokas, he uses that word aparavartiniya, which is non-progressive. So I did not understand why the soul is non-progressive or aparavartiniya. So can you explain that?
See, when you're sending a message to me, asking me to add you in that festival group, just give the verse number and the context, or you can just do a cut paste of that purport and send it to me.
Fine.
I will look into it. I'll get back to you. Okay, Mataji?
Okay. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti vaishnava vrindaki jai. Thank you. So both of you please write to me. I'll share the